No one deserves to be sexually assaulted, regardless of their profession or regardless of what they have done. I'm a real person. I have feelings. I'm not just an exotic dancer. I'm not just someone who tried to frame someone who was innocent of sexual assault. My only intentions were for justice, and I wanted justice for myself.
Hey guys, my name is Madi and you are welcome to Madi Speaks. So today I have a question for you, especially for the men who are watching this show. How would you feel if a woman destroyed your life by accusing you of brutally raping her, damaging your reputation for life, dragging you through all that legal mess, and almost 20 years later, when she has been convicted and sentenced to 18 years imprisonment for stabbing her boyfriend to death, she decided to announce on a podcast that she made up the story of you raping her and that it was all a lie and just a way of getting attention. And she hopes you forgive her after nearly 20 years of ruining your life. Well, you can answer that question however you see fit. But before we move on with today's video, I just want to quickly remind you to subscribe to the channel if you've not already. Like and share this video to keep people informed, and consider joining my membership or buying me a coffee if you like, as a way of supporting the channel. Alright, so today we're going to be diving into the story of this heartless woman by the name of Crystal Mangum. And yes, aside from the fact that she is evil, I really think she is very, very heartless. So in 2006, this woman, who is a professional stripper, accused 3 Duke University lacrosse players of raping her. This news made national headlines that stirred a lot of tension about race, class, and the privilege of college students. During the time of her false accusations, there was major uproar, especially from feminists and from black people, because of course, the accuser is black and she is a woman. This news was quite sensational back then, okay? The 3 lacrosse players who were accused of rape had their lives destroyed, their names attached to the word rapist, and they were nationally vilified as racially motivated rapists. The lacrosse game was suspended in Duke University. The coach was fired. Duke University was shamed and criticized. A lot of lives were ruined by this ugly lie. And now, fast forward to 18 years later, 18 years of the 3 men involved living a life of shame and embarrassment, then only for this woman to come out and say that she lied. Wow.
A first ever stunning admission from a woman who accused Duke University lacrosse players of raping her nearly 20 years ago. The story was a national firestorm. She now says she lied about the encounter. Crystal Mangum first made the claims back in 2006, saying 3 members of the school's lacrosse team raped her after she had been hired to dance at a house party the team was throwing. Police charged David Evans, Colin Finnerty, and Reed Seligman after Mangum's accusations. But after much back and forth and the city's DA stepping down from the case, North Carolina's Attorney General later dismissed the charges, citing a lack of evidence. But now, going on the record on a podcast nearly 20 years later, Crystal Mangum says she was lying the whole time.
I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't, and that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God. And that was wrong when God already loved me for who I was, regardless. I didn't need to seek validation from him because I already had validation from him. I just didn't know it. And I hurt my brothers. And I hope that they can forgive me. And I want them to know that I love them. And they didn't deserve that. And I hope they can forgive me. And that I hope that they can heal and trust God and know that God loves them, and that God is loving them through me, letting them know that they're valuable and that they didn't deserve that.
Joining me now is CNN's Gene Casares, who reported heavily on this case. Gene, give us a sense of how impactful and controversial these accusations and the result were at that time. I remember, you remember this story all too well. I mean, this was literally a firestorm of a story back in 2006. The entire country was watching it, and to hear this admission all these years later, it's just extraordinary.
And 3 young lives were destroyed at that time. You know, it was 2006. It was Durham, North Carolina. I was there. I was covering this. And Crystal Mangum made the accusation that she was raped by David Evans, Cullen Finnerty, and Reed Segelman. And there were charges, very serious sexual assault charges that had terms of imprisonment for the rest of their lives. And in Durham, that's where it started, and everyone took Crystal Magnum's side because she came out with details, very specific, graphic details. And the young men said, we didn't do this. But Duke University did not stand by them either. They were just really silent, but everyone was focused that she was telling the truth. They weren't. Then it went to a national level. And their names became household names. And they were taken into court on these very serious charges. And they were in college. They were at Duke University. Furthermore, the lacrosse team, their entire season was canceled. The coach was fired. So there were ramifications from it. Now, 1 year later, the Attorney General exonerated them of innocence. But there's so much more to the story. I was in the courtroom. And Mike Nifong, the district attorney of Durham, was charged with criminal contempt and then also for disbarment of his bar license. And it came out what the truth was. One of the defense teams had a young attorney, just got out of law school, and he would stay up at night reading the thousands of pages of DNA evidence. And he found something in one of those thousands of pages that confirmed that their DNA was not a part of DNA that they had collected from her. And that DNA evidence is actually one of the major factors that they were exonerated, and that came out during Mike Nifong's trial. He was convicted, by the way, the district attorney, who had stood by her and had done many interviews about how she was raped so viciously. And then they reclaimed their lives. But right there, I believe that's David Evans right there. He said that he, at the time, because he was in the courtroom during Mike Nifong's trial, he wanted to become an attorney because he wanted to help others who were wrongfully accused. And I don't know if that happened, but that is what he wanted at that time. But they'll always be the 3 Duke lacrosse players, right?
Yeah.
If you say the name
right.
Cullen Finnerty, especially if you live in Duke, in Durham, you're going to know who that is.
First of all, I just want to say that I'm happy that these 3 men at least can have a little semblance of satisfaction that this Jezebel came out and confessed the truth to the whole world. I know it's way too late and she is only telling the truth now because she has already ruined her life by herself. I mean, she is currently in prison right now, 7 and 18-year sentence for stabbing her own boyfriend to death. Maybe she is hoping to make amends for her conscience, whatever the case may be. But I'm a bit relieved that at least everybody is now sure that these men who were just young boys at the time of that accusation have been exonerated. Now, this is why I can never support anyone blindly because of what they represent. I would not support you or give you my loyalty simply because you're white, or because you're black and you look like me, or because you're just a female like me, or because you're poor or whatever. Oh, believe whatever a woman tells you. No. I would rather look at the evidence, okay? Investigate the situation and then draw my own conclusions. Sadly, a lot of men have had their lives ruined simply because we chose to believe whatever a woman says. A woman falsely accuses a man of sexual assault or rape, and then boom, we automatically crucify and convict the man. We forget that some people are just vicious and evil, and that includes women. Yes, some women are just so horrible and dangerous and wicked. I would advise you to go online and watch the main video of this woman making these rape accusations back in 2006. The conviction in her voice, the detailed explanation of her story, the way she was able to craft her story to make it look as real as possible would leave you in awe. Everyone believed her back then, even without any evidence, okay? Everyone was on her side simply because she's a woman, and we must believe whatever a woman says. Now, I am not saying that we shouldn't believe women when they come out to tell their stories. No, I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that we should be able to take every story with a grain of salt. Make sure we have sufficient evidence to back up these claims. Investigate these stories thoroughly before jumping to conclusions. People like this horrible woman just make things worse for real victims of sexual assault and rape, okay? They make it difficult for real victims to come up and tell their stories for fear of being disbelieved or being doubted by the society. And honestly, I'm all for forgiveness and letting go of the wrongs that people have committed against you. But in this particular case, I really don't know what to say. This woman destroyed a lot of people's lives for no reason. She had no problems with these guys before. She just decided to accuse them because they were white and rich, and she figured that the society would be on her side because she's a black woman from the downside of life. That was malicious beyond measure. That was evil and wicked. And the fact that she went through with this lie for almost 2 decades is something I can never ignore, okay? Honestly, I have never seen anything worse than this in my 23 years of life. This is just horrible and insane at the same time. Left for me though, I would suggest that she be given the exact punishment these 3 men would have gotten if they were found guilty. She should be prosecuted to the full weight of the law. And as for forgiveness, that is something that will be left for the victims of her lies to decide, okay? But she has to bear the consequences of her wicked actions. But as always, guys, these are my thoughts, these are my opinions, but feel free to share yours in the comment section below, but do so respectfully. Also, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, honestly, I don't know what you're waiting for. Subscribe to the channel, like and share this video to keep people informed, and consider joining my membership or buying me a coffee if you like, as a way of supporting the channel. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to catch you on the next one. For now, peace.